Today we're going to go over some of the most important questions to ask yourself when buying a stroller, as far as my experience consulting with patrons goes anyway. Because even though most people essentially want the same thing, a stroller that's durable, lightweight, and easy folding, with a reversible seat and good storage that can drive over boulders, fit in your pocket, and doesn't cost more than a dime, the truth is that a lot of the characteristics that parents sometimes think they need are often mutually exclusive, meaning that it's actually pretty crucial to sort out what's going to best fit your own specific situation before hitting that purchase button. And jumping right into it then with 2 questions to get you on the right track, I'd recommend examining how rough the environment is where you'll be strolling and how much you use a car to get around. Where here, if you live somewhere rougher, anything from broken sidewalks and potholes to off-roading, or you get snow in the winter, then you'll naturally need larger wheels and better suspension. While when it comes to car use, if you drive everywhere, then something lighter and easier to fold will be a big asset. And since this sort of lifestyle is less use intensive, you can afford to reduce overall durability to get these characteristics. While conversely, if you tend to get around on foot, your stroller will naturally wear down quicker, so you can't. In general, though definitely not always, lighter means either weaker or less terrain capable. Heavier means sturdier or more terrain capable. And I'd add that a reversible seat, which a lot of people want, often also means larger and heavier, as well as more mechanically complex, and in many cases can also mean smaller seat dimensions than what you might get with a forwards-only facing seat. Another important question is whether you're buying a stroller to use during the newborn period, which means the first 6 months, aka before your kid can sit up in the seat. And if you are, how this may impact size and weight, as well as budget. A bassinet is a luxury choice here. Great if it's useful for you, or if you just really want one, of course, but it does add bulk and cost, and is by no means a necessity these days, with models that have newborn acceptable lie-flat reclines, seat inserts or cocoon accessories, or if you tend to drive all the time and are only out with your stroller for limited periods, just pairing your stroller with a compatible car seat. But what about budget, you might be wondering? How much are you willing to spend? How can you get the best stroller for your money? And should you go with a package deal, a so-called travel system, to save a few bucks if you need to get a car seat and base as well? From a durability standpoint, my experience in the workshop is that there's often a big difference quality-wise between premium and budget brands. But that being said, there are definitely some cheaper models that deliver above their price class, many of which we've done our best on this channel to give a shout out to when we find and review them. And there are also stroller types that are often a bit more durable than average without breaking the bank, such as sports-oriented 3-wheelers. On top of this, there's also definitely good strollers to find secondhand, open box, or by picking up a premium model going off the market on the cusp of an update. Or, as I noted when talking about car use, though it's also often the case with travel strollers, if your plans are likely to be less use intensive, then a cheaper model may be just fine anyway, even if it is a bit weaker. As far as travel system deals go, they can sometimes be a great way to save money, but I'd note that it's important to check out the elements first and make sure that they'll all work well for you, especially the stroller, which you'll be using the longest. As in many cases, these deals are put forward by manufacturers whose car seats have limited compatibility with other brands, meaning that if you wind up not liking the stroller, you'll have a limited selection of what to replace it with, since you're locked in by the car seat you bought it with. In my experience, this is particularly a problem in the US, and the brands to be the most wary of are Chico and Graco, with Nuna in the US often having the opposite problem, of their car seats working on other brands of stroller, but not always providing adapters for the car seats of other brands to fit on their own strollers. Next up, I want to talk about dual use. What should you get, for example, if you do drive everywhere, but also go for long hikes on the weekend, where you need a pretty terrain-capable stroller? Or, as another example, let's say you live in an urban setting where you get around mainly on foot, but also travel by plane a few times a year, and are wondering if you can get a single stroller that will fit both sorts of use. Sometimes, though not always, the best will be to get 2 strollers, and the guiding star for how to allocate the larger part of your resources, in my opinion, is for best serving your primary use situation. If you drive everywhere all week but hike on the weekend, then the most important model will be the one that's light and easy folding, while for hikes, you could save a buck by going for a secondhand 3-wheeler. While in the second example, if you get around on foot all day in an urban setting, you'll usually want something a bit sturdier than the average ultra compact that can tolerate this sort of use without getting all loose and rickety, And while this also means a model that's likely a little larger and heavier, those travel needs can either be dealt with by gate checking your stroller, or, if you want to keep costs low, getting a cheaper supplementary ultra compact purely for travel. Another place this dual use thing often comes into play is with the insidious tactic of selling tandem strollers with the idea of future proofing, where I'd note that tandems, at least front loading models, come with certain lifestyle contradictions, being large and terrain capable as single child strollers, and thus best matching life on foot in a rougher environment, while being a bit harder to drive over the same rough ground in two child mode. There are other problems with tandems as well, especially if you're only expecting your first and thus don't know the age gap with future children, and I've linked a past video about this in the description that might help, as well as links to a variety of other videos and resources. In any case, these are some of the most important questions to ask yourself when starting the process of finding the right stroller. If you're currently on the hunt, I'd like to note that we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description as well. Thank you.